Hey guys, and welcome back for another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this really cute origami tote bag. This isn't a traditional origami tote bag, but it does have the same look and it's fully lined. So the first thing you're going to do is cut out a triangle. I have all the measurements over at my blog, which is charmedbyashley.com. Those links will be down below as well as in the information icon. And with that triangle, we're gonna make your lining template. So you're gonna take that triangle, put it on a nice big piece of paper. We're gonna trace that triangle, and then we're going to take that same triangle, spin it, and then line it up with the one side of the triangle, like so. We'll trace that, and then we'll do the same thing on the opposite side, and this will be our lining piece. So for the outside of the bag, you're going to just be using triangles, and for the inside of the bag, we're going to be using this template. And then all you're going to do is cut out a rectangle, and that will be for your shoulder strap. So from here, we're going to choose our fabrics. I decided that I was going to cut up an old pair of jeans that I absolutely love, but they are no longer repairable. So it hurt a little, but I'm totally okay because I still have them. And then when you do cut out your triangles, the two short sides, you're actually going to add 1/4 of an inch onto those sides. And that's just going to be for seam allowance when you go to attach all your triangles together. So this is how it should look when you cut it out. And these are the lining pieces. And these are the pieces that I chose to make the exterior of the bag out of. And then my rectangle piece for the shoulder strap. So the first thing you're going to do is lay down one of the triangles with another one, right sides together, and we're going to sew along one of the short edges. We're going to be using 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and then we will do that again. And where you put this next triangle is of course going to tell you which triangle will be at the bottom of the bag. So my pink one will be at the bottom, so I'm putting the blue one on the other side of the pink one and doing again another 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So after that, your one side of the bag is done, and you're going to repeat that for both sides. And then you'll take both sides of the bag, put them together, and then sew along the 3 edges. We will again use 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And then you will go to the lining of the bag, putting them right sides together, and we will sew along the 3 edges again. So when you're sewing the lining, we're actually going to be leaving a 4-inch gap at the bottom of the bag, so just tie off your stitches and then restart about 4 inches later, and that will be used for turning once we put the lining into the bag. So once you're done that, we are now going to crop the corners, and to do that you're going to take the side seam of the bag and line it up with the bottom seam of the bag. We're going to measure up 3 inches and draw a line across it, and then we're going to sew along that edge and then snip off those excess corners. So we're going to do that for the lining as well as the outer shell. And after we're done that, we're going to take our lining, we're going to turn it right sides out, and then we will insert that into the shell of the bag. So there's that little hole that we're going to be using soon. So from here, we are going to just line up all the seams of the bag, the side seams, and then that center part, we're going to actually make sure that the lining is above that point there. So where that intersection happens with the 3 triangles, make sure it's 1/4 of an inch above it, just so that when we do sew along this edge, we're not going to be snipping off the top of that triangle. So we can make it so the seam comes right above it, and it'll look beautiful once it's finished. So slowly, with a lot of pins and clips, you're just going to line it all up on the edges. When you get to the corner, make sure those seams are nicely lined up and your bag will come out beautifully. So if you do decide to make this, I would love to see it. So follow me on my Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All those links are down below. I do have a small community growing on my Facebook and people love to share over there. So definitely join the community. So we're just going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and when you get to the point, you're just going to leave your needle in, pivot your material, and then keep going to make sure that that corner is nice and sharp. And once you're done that, you're going to flip the whole thing right side out using that hole that we left in the lining. And when you're flipping it right side out, just make sure that you poke out all the corners. So if you use a stick or if you have a poking tool of some sort, definitely have that handy, especially for where the handles will eventually be. And then we're just going to flatten the edges just because we will be doing a top stitch along the entire edge. So you can go iron that down if you like, or you can just wing it like I did. So when I do this top stitch, I'm actually going to bring the lining down a little bit, just like this. This just ensures that the edge looks nice and clean, just so that you don't have some of the lining peeking out, unless that's what you're going for, which you can totally do that, especially if you wanted some of your lining to, you know, pop out and it's contrasting to the bag and add some visual interest. But if not, this is how I like to do my lining. So now I'm going to be working on the strap. So I'm using a piece of my jeans again, and I'm going to take it, fold it in half, and I'm going to sew down the short sides and down the long side, but leaving a 3-inch gap, and I will turn that right side out when I'm finished sewing this part. So for this strap, I'm just going to sew it on only because I think that because the bag has a little bit of a patchworky look to it, I think that it looks kind of cute with it just sewn on. Of course, you could attach the strap while you're installing the lining, but today I am going to do it this way. So once you have your strap turned right side out, I'm just going to do a quick top stitch around all 4 sides, and then that will close up the hole that we use for turning. And then I'm going to just put it on the outside of my bag, and I'll do a box stitch with an X in the middle, and that will ensure that it is nice and strong. So if I choose to put anything heavy, such as, you know, fruit or something like that, if I'm going to the market, then I don't have to worry about my handle breaking off. So once you have your handle installed, then you're done. I absolutely love how this turned out. It has a little place in my heart because some of the materials are from my grandma's old stash, so that makes it a little bit more special. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you can be alerted to new and upcoming tutorials. I will be posting a lot more in the coming forever, hopefully. So I hope you enjoy all the new stuff that I'm working on, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.